I'm going to tell you, when I was like 1992, I got a divorce. 1993, I was out of money. I literally was hurt. I literally am living in a camper that was like 15 feet. And at the end of this, I'll put it up there. I lived in this camper in a farm for a few nights, and then I was sent to a apartment that was $325 a month, all furnished. They ended up selling everything I had except for the camper. That's the truth. They basically let me have the truck and a camper. That's all I had. And they didn't care. They gave me $100 and said, go on your way. Moved my ex-wife's boyfriend in with it. Kicked me out of the house. We had like a little baby girl that was like less than 2 years old. She went nuts, left. Then I found out in like 3rd grade she fell off a high dive and smashed her head. Literally, they put a plate in her head and nobody told me. The judge just looked at me and goes, well, what's her deal? We'll put you in an apartment and you pay the bills, you pay for the divorce, you can leave, but you have to pay for the daughter. I had to pay for her all the way up to 18. They wouldn't even let me see her half the time. They were too busy doing other stuff. They didn't care about me. Literally, everybody there, family, relatives, everybody died of what I have in me that could cure the thing. My real blood relative cured 100% death rate cancer. And they didn't want to listen to me. They thought I was some nutsup. The United States government didn't really want to listen to me until the DNA came back 100% proof it was my relative. They're like, where did you get this guy's name? I said, in my sealed adoption, because he's my relative. Wake up! Really, that's the truth. There was a state sealed adoption. I asked more information in like 1997. The lawyer that handled the case, his dad handled it. He says, I don't know how to tell you this, but when you were 2 years old, everybody else that could take care of you, except for your father and your mother, was dead. Like, the only one that could get you out of state was the policeman that got you, because he's related to his brother's twin, which is dead. And then he's the uncle, the twin, lived through 100% death rate cancer. I think their father killed the twin brother, which would be my grandfather. That's the truth. I was divorced, but before I got divorced, my ex-wife's uncle that was married to Aunt Ida died of a blood clots all through his body One was like half the size of his body, and they were trying to break it up with warfarin. Nobody ever listened to me. They thought, oh, he's gonna die. Well, you're cold. I said, Sydney, listen to me. My uncle had something, well, not as bad as that. I said, it was cancer, and he lived through it. You might want to listen to me. Oh, you're nuts. That's all I got from him. That's the truth. It was blood cancer. That's the 100% death rate cancer he lived through. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know if the government contractor knew this, but they threw me out of the factory, wouldn't let me come into the factory. Then, like 4 years later, they offered me $1,000 to go away. After I was hurt on their factory, then they said I wasn't a veteran. Then they threw me out of the door. This was a government contractor. The people that made the little white mail trucks, them. That's why I was living in a trailer. They didn't even pay me my retirement. They didn't pay me even the proper money. Even when I did get my savings, my ex-wife would take half to 3/4 of it and spend it. I was sort of glad she was gone, but not the way that it happened. I don't know how I can even explain this, really. I'll just tell you, I ended up going back to Mansfield, going back to my parents' house, staying there for a couple of weeks. Then they put me in Tanglewood Campground in this 15-foot Scotty camper that I had. And I had to go get propane every couple of weeks because it only had one propane tank on it. And that's how I lived for probably 2 months or 3. And then they got me a apartment in a barn in Mainsburg. Then I lived there for like 2.5 years until I got this trailer on in because I won my Social Security disability thing. That's how come I ended up here. But I was living in a camper, and my uncle would take me to Canada, and he'd make me work for my stay up there. And then he wanted me to work forever for him for like next to like, I guess $50 a month or something. You know, I'm literally giving them money to live with them for like $100 for food, and he can't figure out how to pay me to live with him. You know, they can't figure out it costs like $1,000 or whatever to go to a home and live. He wanted me to do it for next to nothing. Then he finally gave me a truck, but he gave me a camper that was like, he got it for like a trade, and it was like, he beat the living tar out of it, and then he wanted me to sell it to the Canadians for like $2,000. I'm like, you gotta be nuts. That's my whole family. They didn't really care. They'd just like come, maybe take me out to meal or whatever. Come once a week once a month when I got paid or whatever. And then they'd, you need to come do this, do that. You know, it was like a handout brigade to them. They didn't really want to pay me what I was worth. That's the way they did it to me. Literally, I ended up in a camper. I ended up with another camper. I ended up with a bass boat. I had people tell me they'd help me run the bass boat, stored the thing for like 10 years or whatever, have over 10, 15,000 in storage fees. Then they run off. But you're not going to pay me. Well, what about all the money I did pay you? You know, what about bailing out your court cost? What about paying you down payment for your house? You know, what about all of that? I can't do that. I can't do. After 10 years of paying storage for the thing? Wake up! Their father offered me a deal for the boat. $100 a month payments, $100 down. I pay more than that for the storage fee, you morons. They're idiots. Whole bunch of idiots. Oh, I bought a outboard motor for $100. I said, pay what it really costs, like thousands. No, they don't cost that much. Yeah, it does. Really. Great. Yeah, I played it. I played the other one. It run out when I was telling the guy when it cost to buy a boat motor. I paid like $2,500 for a used one I had, and I paid like $500 for him to put it on, rewire the boat. The boat was already ready to go when I asked the guy, and they run off. Oh, Mommy says I don't have to go run it after I stored it for like 11 years. You know, one of my 80-horse motors was worth like $3,000 that I gave the one guy to store it, and they threw me out of that. It was supposed to be a lifetime storage. But all these idiots all run off. Then the one guy basically that offered me the $100, he ran off within a month of offering me that. Didn't come back. Left the wife, left the kids, left everybody. Run all the way down to Tennessee. Really. I'm just going to try to tell you, I basically had the bass boat is fixed, ready to go, had a contract that would pay somewhere over $100,000, and I won $700,000. All I had to do was go pick it up. I paid people, they never showed up to even pick the money up. I guess they didn't want paid. You know, you might have wanted to actually figure out what the deal was before you run off. You know, I mean, this is ridiculous. When they actually run off, I wasn't here. You want to know where I was? In a wake of a friend of mine. Literally, I was. I drove like 3 hours away because I was in the guy's will. Just show up. Then the guy's wife and the lawyer opened up the door, and it was full of brand new firearms, never even been fired. And he said, you said you were a tester. This was all the stuff that he got to test. It's all yours. Sign it, buy it, show it, it's all yours. Take it home with you, one at a time or up to 4 or 5. Literally, that's what I had. I come home to get help, they're all gone. Really, that's the truth. The same thing happened this year too. Oh, I hurt my kid. My kid's this. My kid's sick. My kid broke his leg. Last year it was the same stuff. I had my place broke into. The cops were all laughing at me. Well, did you sell the stuff? No, they cut the lock, you moron. I get over $4,000 a month. Do you think I'm going to worry about paying $50 or $60 a month? What the heck is wrong with these people? They're morons. Literally, they are. I'm a 100% death rate cancer survivor because of the U.S. government job I had. Before I was a mail truck guy, I was in a secret area in Nevada. That was my job. To go on and off Groom Lake Complex. Hauling stuff at night. I mean, Literally one day they let me out to come back from that place in 15-mile-an-hour speed cruiser because I was hauling something else back. I mean, the desert is not a real good place to be. You know, it's all brown and looks like all dead. Who the heck would really want to be here? This makes no sense to me. Really. I don't know what the heck to really tell you. This thing's lagging and everything. I think it's stopping. No, it's recording. It stopped and then it started to record again. I don't know what's going on. Literally, what I'm going to do is basically I've got 1970 15-foot Scotty I lived in for probably 3-4 years, some in Canada. Then I bought a 1988 Scotty. I owned that for like 15 years. And then I got a brand new camper ready to go do all this stuff. I'm sitting here ready to go do it all. It's all ready to go because I won like the case against the government disability. And they're like, run off in the middle of the night when I got all that other work to do. They didn't care. Literally, they don't care. Here's the truth. They don't really care about anything. That's what really happened. The truth. I just don't understand why these people think it's a joke. Everybody I had in my family did the same thing. Everybody I had in my relatives did the same thing. My brother's second wife and they did the same thing to me. Then they blame me for the problem. Well, the problem wasn't me. The problem was I was really sick and you won't listen to me. But that's the truth, really. They're idiots. I mean, they're out here cutting the lawn every week when it ain't growed for the last 6 weeks. You know, it quit growing because there ain't enough sun to keep it going. The end of this video, I'm going to have some pictures. I'm going to have my old camper, my old truck, my uncle's camper he gave me in Canada set up. I'm going to have my one boat that was a 20-footer that was sold and the guy ran with it and only paid like enough for the prop and thinks he got the 20-footer and ran. I found him dead in the graveyard in New York, and the New York people didn't want to do their job after I went to court and won. I have a whole bunch of other stuff here that's all old pictures and stuff that was mine that I had the whole time, and I'll go through and put a few more on. I have like my 1988 Scotty camper. I have my new truck and camper. I have my bass boat and my SUV. I have a whole bunch of stuff there. Thank you.